Welcome to the Reconnect Factor, the podcast of the Power Play Reconnect experience. This is a place where you can rest your mind, play a little, and reconnect to your unique, authentic, and creative self. I'm your host, Ruth Haskins. Our quote, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." Buddha. Today I'm talking about staying in the present moment and why it is so important. Even more so as we see our world becoming more complicated. To tell the truth, most of us have thinking patterns that rarely remain in the present moment. Our thoughts drag us back to the past or barrel us forward into the future. And it's not a flaw, it's just part of the human condition. A lot of our mental ability is about survival. So that's what I mean when I talk about the human condition. There is always something in the distant or recent past, like the uncomfortable conversation you just had with your boss 10 minutes ago, or maybe something in the immediate or even distant future, the probability of changing employment. And these are the things we're constantly thinking about. So it's often the reason we miss the exit while we're driving or bump into strangers on the street when the street is really not crowded, but our mind is just somewhere else. Or sometimes in the most extreme case, we are unaware that a person is screaming for help less than 5 feet away from us. And maybe until somebody else brings it to our attention. So for the most part, we really live in a vacuum of unawareness. This preoccupation with the past and the future is even more pronounced now that we have cell phones. And cell phones are good, don't get me wrong. They're a necessity. You cannot live without them, unfortunately, but they're a necessity in our society. But just because we are presently typing a text message does not mean we are really present. The National Safety Council reports that cell phone use while driving, distracted driving, leads to at least 1.6 million crashes every year. Nearly 390,000 injuries occur each year from accidents caused by texting while driving. So if we were present while on our cell phones, these things would not be happening. Also, we wouldn't miss conversations and need to ask people to repeat themselves. And there would not be a consistent rise also in people killed or seriously injured by distracted walking. On the cell phone, crossing the streets, head down, totally oblivious of traffic. I've seen this so many times and it's absolutely frightening. So what Buddha says applies to everyone. If we are ruminating in the past or the future, the present moment is lost for us. Our mind, which we should be using to maintain awareness of the present moment, is otherwise occupied by situations, over which we have absolutely no control. Our minds literally are elsewhere. And I know a lot of people will say, well, so what's in the present moment? What's all this thing about the present moment? And they'll say, that's all I hear is a lot of people talking, some music playing, maybe the air conditioner or heating unit is humming along. Maybe I'm hearing car horns. Exactly. So to give you an inside picture of what it really looks like or feels like, even as I'm preparing for this podcast, I am to some degree projecting into the future. How will it sound? Are the facts in order? Does it make sense? And I'm thinking about my past podcast as well. Is this in line with what I'm doing? There are a lot of questions that are going on. So I'm either really projecting into the past, or I'm projecting into the future. However, when I pause, when I become quiet, I become aware of the hum of the heating system. against the relative quiet and silence of early morning. I realize that I feel cold. I can hear the kitchen clock ticking. This moment holds all types of sounds, sensations, and physical and emotional experiences. But when I'm dwarfed in the past or planning furiously for the future, I become overwhelmed by the whirlpool of regrets and negative thoughts and projecting positive thoughts into the future. I miss the present, which is in the space in which the past can be accepted, corrected, and where future hope lies. The present moment is really the mitigator of the past and the future. It's that moment in between when we become fully aware. When we allow ourselves to simply be in the present moment is more amazing than the past or the future. Just think about this. At this moment that I am speaking, when I stop speaking, it will be the past. That moment between when I stop speaking and begin speaking again is the only present moment. What is happening at that moment? That's when we hear the car horns, we hear people shouting, people playing music, the rumble of the air conditioning. But what I'm really experiencing is a gift of awareness in its simplest form. I'm not focused on the past and I'm not projecting into the future. I'm aware of all the nuances of sound and activity around myself and within myself. This simple awareness is something that we've all lost. We say that there is a lack of time, but time is the same as it has always been. It is the breach of industrialism and technological advancement into the wharf of time that has collapsed. We think there is not enough time because we are moving at warp speed in our daily lives. And what we can't do physically, our minds are streaming incessantly from the past or into the future. We don't stop. We don't stop. Even in our sleeping moments, sometimes we wake up exhausted because our minds are so busy trying to unravel the past or whatever with the past, which, there's nothing you can do with yesterday. Yesterday is done. And there's really nothing we can do with the future, but our minds are just constantly in motion, and even more so because of the society in which we live. And bottom line, it's not healthy. We need to be able to stop, and we need to be able to get our minds to settle down, to pay attention. And it's early morning, and the sun is coming up. And it makes me think that years ago, people got up early. They rose with the sun. And they had that brief moment where they could breathe. And everything was still quiet. There were no airplanes overhead. There were no cars, busting down the highways, and trucks and horns and all kinds of noise. The most noise they might have might be the rooster, or if they had a cow, I know that's oversimplifying it, and I'm talking about a bygone era. But we had time, believe it or not, for what today we call mindful meditation. It may not have lasted long. It may have just been walking out of the house and taking a deep breath of fresh air, clean, fresh air. And just for a moment, acknowledging, oh, it's a good day. Oh, it's raining. Ooh, it's cold. Oh, it's snowing. Ooh, oh, my, wow. Yeah, I'm here. I'm fully present in this moment. We don't do that anymore. We get up running. We run to put the coffee on. We run to take a shower. We run to get dressed. We run to get to the car. We run to get to work. We get to work and we run all day long. We have 1,001 thoughts bombarding us. Not only our thoughts, but the thoughts of everyone around us. That's why today, mindful meditation is very important. This is a quiet place where we can gently discipline the mind and gain the present moment. Rather than reaching or straining for some goal, a simple mindful meditation can be resting quietly and focusing on what is in our immediate environment. When the mind becomes busy with anything else, we invite it to return and then concentrate on what we are experiencing in the present moment. Do I feel cold? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Is something in my body hurting? What is that sound? Oh, it's my neighbor's air conditioning. Oh, it's the clock. Oh, it's the coffee perking. What's going on in the present moment? So what we do in this type of mindful meditation is let our body inform our mind of what it is hearing, feeling, sensing, and seeing. Notice and name emotions, but we don't stop to examine them. We just acknowledge them. Oh, I'm feeling angry. Oh, I'm feeling anxious. Thank you. Okay. Let it go. It is surprising at what we can discover and how refreshing it is to be in the present moment, if only for just a little while. It is really where we find our power to move forward into life and accomplish our most important work. So remember, as my friend Louise L. Hay said, and I never knew her personally because her work has been so influential in my life, I call her my friend. She was fond of telling people, and I quote, "The point of power is always in the present moment." Louise L. Hay. More than just a thought, this is the Reconnect Factor, the podcast of the Power Play Reconnect experience. I would really love to hear from you, so contact me at WPRXDB, Columbia, Maryland, or WPRXDB, Columbia, MD, @gmail.com. Thank you for listening.